90% native. My name is Michelle and I garden in Northern Virginia in Zone 7A. Today I'm going to show you how I prepare Jack-in-the-Pulpit seeds that I have collected out in my landscape so that I can go ahead and winter sow them and hopefully get some sprouts in the spring. In order to prepare Jack-in-the-Pulpit seeds, you're going to need a few supplies because the coating around the Jack-in-the-Pulpit seeds can cause skin irritation. So to get started, I have a bowl that I am going to put the Jack-in-the-Pulpit seed heads in, and that's where I'm going to work the seeds out of. I have my Jack-in-the-Pulpit seeds here. Now I'm just going to be completely open and honest here. I collected these a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago, so I should have already done this. So who knows what's going to happen as far as germination goes, but we'll see. And then I have a sieve and a plate for underneath the sieve. So I am going to put the seeds, once I've taken the coating off, into here, because then I'm going to want to rinse them before I actually sow them in a container. And then finally, I have plastic gloves. And y'all probably have these because of COVID anyway. So yeah, plastic gloves, because you don't want to get that juice in the outer coating of the Jack-in-the-Pulpit seeds on your skin, because it can be an irritant. Okay, so a little bit about Jack-in-the-Pulpits. Jack-in-the-Pulpits are woodland plants. You can find them all over the forest floors east of the Rocky Mountains. I will put up a Bon app, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, map so that you can see the whole native range. But they are a woodland plant that enjoys a shady, moist environment. Typically, you will find them growing in colonies, but sometimes you'll just find one-offs here and there. In my yard, they do grow in colonies, and usually they can get up to about 2 feet tall. However, for some reason, my yard is like, it has to be like the perfect environment for Jack-in-the-Pulpits, because my Jack-in-the-Pulpits get so tall. They probably get 3+ feet tall in some instances. Sometimes I've read where people say that Jack-in-the-Pulpits are spring ephemerals, and I've also read where that's not mentioned. I consider them an ephemeral because they will come up, do their thing, and then they're dying back by mid-July and looking pretty ragged. So that's when I start cutting them back a little bit and cleaning things up. So when the Jack-in-the-Pulpits do start emerging in the early spring, they come up out of the ground and look like a spike. So when the spike comes out of the ground, there are 3 large leaves that are kind of wrapped around or within that spike, and those unfurl, and then the flowering structure emerges. That flower form consists of a 3-inch spadix, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and that is covered with tiny little flowers that are pollinated by flies. And that piece of the flowering form is the Jack. And then there is a tubular leaf-like piece of the flower that comes, that kind of encircles the spadix, and it's called the spathe, and it comes up and over top of the Jack and then gives it just a little roof, and that's what's referred to as the pulpit. So that little structure that holds Jack. Once pollination occurs, the spadix dies back and berries are formed, and then you have like this clump of berries. Here, let's see. This is a really bad example because I collected it so long ago, and it's start to form into a cluster like this. And then over the next few weeks, those bright green berries turn into this bright fire engine red, into these fire engine red berries. And then when the berries are this color, this is when you can collect them for seed. I leave a lot of the berries up for the birds and the small mammals to eat. I don't take too many of them, but I have so many, it really doesn't matter anyway. One interesting note that I found on the interwebs is that fungus gnats also pollinate Jack-in-the-Pulpits, And apparently there is a bit of a foul-smelling odor for the gnats that attract the gnats. It's supposed to smell like some sort of fungus that fungus gnats are attracted to, but that fungus isn't actually there, and that is what pulls in the fungus gnats to pollinate the Jack-in-the-Pulpits. Whether that's true or not, I have no idea. I just happened to read it when I was collecting some additional information for this video. Okay, I am all ready to process these seeds so that I can sow them. And just let me show you once again. Here are the Jack-in-the-Pulpit seeds. Let me just take all these little berries off. Here, there's some gross parts to this because it's rotting. But this is what it looks like without the berries. I kind of like just getting the biggest ones for some reason. I don't really know why. The rest of this is like entirely too old, so I'm just gonna throw that away and work on getting seeds from these berries. They're really easy to pop open. Just be careful. You don't want any of this juicy part to get into your eyes or on your skin. So you get the little seeds out of there. There's probably about 4 or 5 seeds in each of these little berries. This one has 3, 4. Okay, so what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna take these berries and then you're going to pop it open, pops really easily, and take that coating off of the seeds. Throw that away, and then take these seeds and I put them into the sieve. This will be rinsed off and we'll do that later. Okay, so I think I collected enough seeds for my purposes and for right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you over to the sink and we are gonna wash off these seeds and get that pulpy stuff off from around the seed. Then we are going to put them in a container and sow them outside, and I'll probably put a bunch of snow over top of them because I still have snow outside. Okay, so over to the sink we go. Excuse the mess in my kitchen. Here. Now I'm just getting some of these seeds up. I'm going to rinse out the sieve and do another rinse of the seeds. So guys, I messed up and I accidentally didn't record my sowing of the Jack-in-the-Pulpit seeds. So I just want to quickly show you how I sow my seeds. I'm not going to actually put any seeds in there. I'm just going to show you what I would typically do. So I did want to show you the type of container that I'm using. For the Jack-in-the-Pulpit, I actually used one that is 10 by 10, but this is a 5 by 5. This is from Bootstrap Farmer, and the plastic is so heavy duty. So I'll be able to use these for years and years and years. And I really hate using and getting rid of plastic quickly. So it's still plastic, but I will be using it for a very long time. Again, this is from Bootstrap Farmer. And the potting mix that I use is a potting mix that I put together myself, and it's about equal parts of coconut coir, coarse vermiculite, and a local compost called Leaf Grow. And sometimes I'll throw in some leaf mold if I have any laying around. And then on top of the seeds, I put chicken grit or poultry grit. And the poultry grit holds in moisture in the soil. Also, if you have very tiny seeds that need light to germinate, you can put the chicken grit over top and the seeds will still get the light that they need. I just find it's all around just a cleaner way of preparing your seeds. Okay, so then I would label this up and then put it outside in the snow and the rain and the cold so that it can cold stratify and sprout for me in the spring. Okay, and here it is. Jack in the Pulpit. I covered it with snow to aid in the cold stratification process. So we should be ready in the spring for Jack in the Pulpit seedlings, and I will continue to go ahead and put those throughout my woodland and give them away to friends. Well, I think that's it for today. I showed you how I prepare my Jack in the Pulpit seeds so that I can winter sow them and get new plants the following year. So if this content appeals to you, please consider liking and/or subscribing. Share with your garden friends. Thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you again next time.